And I said, well, how did it fall off? And he said, there are no footings.
So there's no footing.
No footings.
Oh
Poured
my
walls,
God.
no footings. Yeah.
You got this project, Brandon. You flip a lot of houses. This is a first. We're going to throw this up on the screen so people can see this. It's a property that I actually wholesaled you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And you're renovating it right now. This is the downside to flipping that nobody ever talks about. That's why I want to talk about it. You bought this thing. You've been flipping houses for
6 years.
6 years. And this is the first time you've seen this?
First time I've seen it. First time my basement guy has seen it. Lucky me.
That's. I don't mean to laugh because I've been here before. I've cut checks before.
Yeah, let's not laugh until I paid for it. And
Right. All right, take me from the beginning. So this was a property on 10th in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Right. You bought it from me. I totally screwed you over. And you didn't know this, but you started renovating it. But take us through the story of this thing.
Okay, so when I took it over, I had to pull a permit, obviously. The house was just about down to the studs, old lath and plaster. So I finished demoing it, demoed all the crappy work that was already done, and pulled a wall out, header in, took the ceilings out upstairs, so it's got like volume ceilings upstairs. Cool stuff. It's fun. Like, I'm going to spend a little bit more money on this one because I'm going to keep it. So a little bit more fun than your regular flip because you're not pinching pennies everywhere you can. You're doing stuff that you want to do.
Right.
Some more fun, cool stuff. And
you can be more creative. You don't got to be as generic.
Yeah. And I don't have to worry about, okay, if I spend extra money here, do I have to take it from somewhere else? No, I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to spend a little bit more money on the fixtures. I'm going to jazz up the ceilings. I'm going to just do extra stuff I wouldn't do because it's too expensive. So the basement was in pretty bad shape, which, whatever, you see that all the time on these old houses. It's 100 years old.
Yeah, but your end goal is you're going to short-term rental Airbnb this property, right?
Yep.
And so when you're saying you want to do all that stuff, make it more HGTV-like, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, cool. And then you started getting into the reno.
Yeah, so we're in the reno. Things are going pretty good. Some stuff's costing a little more, but I kind of knew that going in, and I'm okay with that. And the basement was in bad shape when I took it, and I knew that I was going to have to do something down there. But it did have poured walls, so I'm like, okay, poured walls, at least, we'll excavate. It's a small footprint. It's only a 900 square foot house, so you're talking a really small basement. It's a 2-story. So talking a 450 square foot basement. I mean, that's pretty small. So not really that expensive to basically rebuild, excavate everything, all beams, straighten, drain tile, the whole 9 yards, waterproof it.
They pushed 3 walls out?
Well, I got a few quotes, and I settled on one contractor that said he could get there a little sooner. He starts excavating the back wall, starts excavating the side walls, and gets the back wall excavated, and then they take their backhoe, their mini axe, and they start to pull the wall straight again, and they're also using jacks on the inside, big, huge steel jacks to push the wall back out because it was deflected about 5 inches.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
And there's cracks in the wall and whatnot, but whatever. They got rot in them. They should be fine. And he calls me. The day they're there pushing the wall back, he calls me and says, hey, so the wall just sank about 4 inches. And I'm like, well, what do you mean it sank? He's like, well, we were pushing it out, and it broke off the corners, and it sank about 4 inches on one side, 2 inches on the other. I'm like, okay, so now what? And he's like, well, I'm going to see if we can get somebody to pier some rods in here. We have to get up to 2,500 PSI. Once we get to that, then the rods are far enough from the ground, could be anywhere from 5 feet to 20 feet. And then we can jack the wall up off of that and tie in the wall on that so it's basically solid. And I'm like, well, how the heck did it fall off the footing is what I asked him. How much did you push it out? And he's like, We only pushed it out. We didn't even get it straight. We only got it like 2.5 inches, and it fell. And I said, well, how did it fall off? And he said, there are no footings.
So there's no footing.
No footings.
Oh
Poured
my
walls,
God.
no footings. Yeah. So in a sense, when they went to straighten the wall, both corners broke off, and then there's nothing holding it. And it just sank into the clay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you could literally from the basement, you could see there was a crack that big on one side from the sill.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then the cracks that were in the walls, since the wall wasn't tied into the rest of the basement anymore, I mean, I could stick my whole hand in them. They were huge, and you could push on the wall and move it.
Wow, this is a first, man. I haven't heard this, and I don't mean to keep laughing, but because I've been there, I've opened.
It's not funny at all. So, so my basement guy, it's the first time I've ever seen this. So great.
Sure, he does it for a living. It's the first time he's seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, 15 years he's never seen that with a poured wall. I see it with fieldstone, but not with poured walls. So he gets an engineer to give us a quote on puring it, and that was like $12,000, and we're like, well, that's ridiculous. So luckily I have a mason that's done quite a bit of work for me, and he wanted a side job, so he gave me a pretty nice quote on pouring footing. The basement guys ripped the wall out, pulled it right out of there. They busted it in a couple pieces, pulled it right out, and now we're going to pour footings, and then put a brand new block wall on the back.
Sure.
So it'll be a brand new wall.
Sure. So this is like we'll name this segment "Flipping Nightmare."
Yeah, that's about like one of the worst things that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
how much did it blow your budget?
Well, luckily, since I have so my guy told me it would cost him 6 to 7 extra to rebuild the wall.
The foundation contractor or your
the
mason?
Foundation contractor.
Oh, sure.
But I have a mason that's done quite a bit of work for me, and he's in the union. He happened to be laid off. He wanted the work.
Sure.
So it worked out pretty slick. He said he would do it all if I got all the materials for. At the end of the day, I'll be into it for about $3,500.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was gonna be way worse than that.
Me too.
Yeah. That's there's a pro tip right there. Always have a mason, concrete guy. Have a guy for everything that you've vetted over the years, because when you have something crazy like this happens, you get to pull him in and say, "Hey, I need some help."
Yeah, and some stuff lined up, so it worked out great that he was available and wanted to do it. But yeah, if I didn't have that relationship from before, I'm paying retail for that.
Oh yeah, for sure. You'd be out $7,000.
Yeah, I would have just said, do it. I have no option.
Yeah, my house.
I'm not gonna do it
has 3
myself.
foundation walls.
I don't know how to lay blocks. I mean, I could figure it out, but it'd be ugly.
It would be. It would be.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, no, not cool, but thanks for sharing the story, because I think a lot of people need to hear that. Like sometimes you have unexpected items pop up, but for the overall scope of a foundation wall falling out, I think you got out okay.
Yeah, ironically, I was never that. I didn't lose any sleep over it.
Yeah.
Part of the reason is I'm keeping it, and I am spending extra money on things that I never spend extra money on. So this just meant I'm going to have more into it at the end. So the property won't be quite as profitable right away, but I plan on keeping it.
What is your what are you hoping as a short-term rental Airbnb? What are you hoping to get per night, per stay? Right out the gate, and then do you think as it stabilized, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I want to get people in. So right away, I'm gonna do a pretty low price, whatever the going rate is. Basically, I'll go on Airbnb. I'll see what people are renting similar stuff out for.
Sure.
And I'll knock $20 to $30 off a night just to get people renting it.
Full.
Get a bunch of reviews, and then slowly ratchet it up from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I know that there's still a huge hole as far as hotels and places to stay for event type stuff.
Yeah, demand's pretty high.
Packer games, but even like concerts and stuff. I mean, Packer games, people are still staying in Appleton.
Sure.
Or farther away than that.
Right.
To go to Packer games. And I've even, just in this process of, people ask what you're doing, what you're working on, and I'll bring this up. And I can't believe how many times, at least 5 or 6 times, people will be like, "Oh, we did that at our house, at the house they live in.
Yeah,
we Airbnb'd it for a Packer game."
Yeah, they went to family members, and then for a Packer game, they Airbnb'd it.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe how many people have done that, and they all said, "Man, we actually made out really well."
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if there's people that are renting out their personal home and they're not even by Lambo,
right?
There's obviously a market for it.
Sure.
I hope.
Well, that's one thing, man. When you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, business owner, you're gonna take those leaps. You're like, I
Yeah,
think
but
this is gonna work good, and it's always nice when it gets reinforced that it works, but you never know.
yeah, and I won't be into it for so much money where, I have to make X amount. So even if, something happens and Airbnb slows down or whatever,
Your exit plan is
it's going to be a fully furnished, basically executive
rental.
property that's like all brand new. So there's a market for that too,
Sure. Oh yeah.
for like short term, a few month rental for
Yeah.
premium dollar. So
Right.
I think I'll be safe either way.
Yeah.
However, when I did my research on Airbnbs for the area, there's a ton of them. However, a lot of them are just, I'd say a good third of them are people just renting out a room or two out of their house, which that wouldn't be competition.
Right.
There's a lot of houses near Lambeau that are Airbnb. However, most of them don't have a garage.
Oh.
And that was one thing that Jason Fisher mentioned to me, that the most questions he gets on his properties that have the garage, they ask about that garage first. They ask if it's heated. They ask what it's like.
Sure.
Stuff like that. So he's like,
For the Packer games or
Yeah.
for the events.
for the events.
So they can drink beer out there and play games or whatever.
watch the game.
Sure, watch
have
the game out
TV
there.
out there, all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's why. So I was actually going to table the garage idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the house renovated, rent it out, make some money, see how that goes. But having that conversation with Jason, who already has a few of them, he said,
So you're throwing a garage in?
"Yeah, it's already up."
Oh yeah. So back to the house of the foundation. Have you saw anything? Did you see? Is there anything that you learned from it? Going like, hey, I saw that and I just kind of brushed over it, or were you completely taken by surprise? Like, what'd you learn?
That's a really great question, because I don't think there's a way to know that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
Either.
mean, you can't see what's under the ground. And
Yeah, you definitely didn't know there was not a footing there. There's no way you know
That's
that.
the biggest thing. If there was a footing there, that wall would still be there. Yeah,
It'd be straight.
It's ugly, but it
Sure.
would have been straightened out. They would have filled in the cracks. They would have
Yeah.
put the beams in.
Waterproofed it. And,
Yep, it would have been
Yeah,
fine. So, did I learn anything? Yeah, that be ready that there going to be a surprise on anything
Sure.
that you might think you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Just when you think you've seen it all,
Yeah. You're like,
something
surprise.
like that happens.
Yeah.
Poured wall with no footing.
Humbling experience.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
But I think you got out all right. I thought it was going to be way worse than that.
Well, it slowed me down too about 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's
Trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Did you have to pull another, like a building permit for that?
No, that's part of so the house and the garage are two separate permits,
Oh.
which is fun. Literally took me almost 8 weeks. No. It was 9 weeks to get my permit approved for the house.
Oh. Jeez.
That's Green Bay.
Not touching that one.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think the people are going to get some value out of that in terms of, unexpected things happen on flips. It's not always what you see on TV.
Right. No. Yeah. TV has got the most of the shows just really crack me up. I watch them and laugh. Especially that one with that really good-looking couple that's now divorced. What the heck is that one called?
Yep.
Where this guy's always falling, and then they get to the end of the project, and he's like, "Oh, we made 120,000.
Yeah, right.
On to the next."
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, in those price points, you can pull those larger profit.
Yeah,
There's bigger
I
margin.
get it. There's bigger margin and there's more
Yeah.
money involved, but you'd think by the way the show goes with
He's broke every
all
time.
these- all these
Flip or
crazy-
flop. That's what it's called.
yeah,
Flip or flop.
all these crazy
Yeah.
problems that he never
Yeah.
foresee,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we
made 100 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that would be in our market the equivalent to making like 30 or 40 probably,
Yeah.
which is not undoable, but it's not typical.
Do you feel comfortable saying how much you made on one? Your biggest profit?
The biggest one?
Yeah.
Actually, that would be the farmhouse, but I don't have all of the pennies accounted for, but it's somewhere along the line of about 45,
45.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It's between 40 and 45.
Sure. Mine was 38,000 for about 5 years, and then I did a 58,000 one. So when I bought at auction, that there's a whole edition that nobody ever counted for, and it's massive. So
Oh, is that the one on?
one that Jeff helped me out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
58,000 on a flip, right? But I've cut checks too. I cut a check for 16 grand. I cut a check for 12 grand. You know, I've had my losses. So
Yeah, I cut a check for 3,800. That was the most.
38,000.
38,000. 3,800. Yeah. I've also gotten a check for $50 on a flip.
$50?
Yeah.
Was that from one you and I did?
Yeah.
That was a profit we got?
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, we made some commission on it, but it was pretty funny.
$50 profit distribution. That was those college years. That's when you learn.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. And never say that you won't lose money again, but you're in a lot better spot where you can see those potential pitfalls.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I learned the one that we lost quite a bit of money on, where I wrote the biggest check I ever had to write at closing. The big rule that I learned on that one is it had 3 warts.
Yeah, three things wrong with it.
You can have 1.
Yeah.
2, you're getting kind of, you might want to really think about that.
Yeah.
But when you have 3 warts,
Yeah.
don't do it.
So walk away from it. Give an example of what a ward's like.
Floodplain.
Floodplain.
I'll tell you exactly what this one was. Floodplain.
Yeah.
Holding tank,
Holding tank.
because it was in the country, and everything was steps to get to the first level.
Steps everywhere.
Yeah, you when you drive in the driveway, you had to go up steps to get into the house. So
Was that one ours?
yeah,
The blue one? Out in Swamico, or not Swamico,
Yeah.
Little Swamico?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
3 warts.
3 wards. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, and on not so, let's say that's a country property, but like in town, like 3 of them will be like no bathroom on the main level is a problem.
Yep.
1 stall garage or no garage, right? That sometimes you can get over those things, but it's, you know, if it's got no bathroom on the main level and it doesn't have a garage. What's another example that we can give?
No basement.
No basement. Oh yeah, that's another one. No AC, right?
Well, that you can fix.
You can add it, but if it's a boiler system, now you're talking
Still
big
add
money.
it, but it's
bigger
double the
money.
price.
Yeah, double the price if it's a boiler. Yes.
When I say warts, I mean stuff you can't fix. Like,
Oh, sure.
let's say there's a railroad tracks right next to it.
Yeah. Right.
Or you're on a super busy road.
Right.
That'd be a wart.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff you can't really change
Sure.
that are not adverse facts, but they're stuff that people don't want. They're not desirable.
Yeah. Knocks the project down.
Yeah. Or let's say you got a huge electric pole, like a big
Transformer or
something.
Yeah.
Like I just got one under contract in Lena that has got a big, huge metal distribution cage in front yard, right in the front yard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Plant a bush.
Right, a pretty big bush. Somebody actually left feedback. They're like, well, we're exploring if we can put a fence around that because they have a child they're worried that is going to climb that.
Oh my God.
Like, let him climb it.
Life lessons.
Yeah.
By power transformers.
He's never going to learn if you don't let him do
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right, dude.
All right. Sounds good.